Wednesday on Rappler. Under intense lobby from bishops, the vote on the reproductive health bill begins. After 3 years, Zaldi Ampatuan is finally arraigned for the murder of 58 people in the Maguindanao massacre. And Manny Pacquiao is back in the country, down but not out, determined to redeem himself. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Under intense lobby from bishops, the vote on the reproductive health bill begins. 217 out of 287 House members are present Wednesday as the lower chamber votes on the controversial measure. The gallery of the Batasang Pambansa is packed with supporters and opponents of the bill. The anti-RH side is led by leaders of the Catholic Church. At least 8 members of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, including Antipolo Bishop Gabriel Reyes and Lipa Archbishop Ramon Arguelles, sit in the gallery to watch lawmakers cast their votes. Retired Bishop Teodoro Bacani earlier slammed Malacanang for allegedly using pork barrel to pressure congressmen to vote for the bill. The second reading is the most difficult stage of the legislative process. If it passes, it brings the divisive bill closer to becoming a law. If approved, the RH bill only needs to pass third and final reading to completely hurdle the House. The Senate's expected to vote on the measure on second reading on Monday, December 17th, and if passed, on third reading on Thursday, December 20th. Legislators are now explaining their votes. They each have 3 minutes. Catholic bishops hold a series of mass hours before the House of Representatives vote on the reproductive health bill. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Tagle holds a mass at the Guadalupe Church. He urges Filipinos to protect and preserve human life, which Catholic bishops believe would be put at risk by the RH bill. At the St. Peter's Church in Quezon City, Bishop Ramon Arguelles calls on lawmakers, quote, not to sell their souls for 280 million pesos. He adds, "You're worth more than that. Your eternity is at stake." Arguelles is referring to speculations President Benigno Aquino used pork barrel to compel House members to vote in favor of the measure. At least 21 lawmakers opposed to the RH bill are present at the Mass in St. Peter's. It took 3 years, but former Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao Governor Zaldi Ampatuan is finally arraigned for the gruesome Maguindanao massacre that killed 58 people, including 30 media workers. Carlos Santamaria reports.
A defiant Ampatuan pleaded not guilty to charges that he was part of a conspiracy to kill the victims. 3 years after he was arrested for the Maguindanao massacre, principal suspect Zaldi Ampatuan is finally arraigned. The former ARMM governor pleads not guilty to charges of conspiring to murder 58 people on November 23, 2009. Zaldi Ampatuan shows no remorse and even gave threatening looks to the families of the victims.
Matapang lang siya doon sa naka-shade siya kaya ayaw niya tanggalin yung shade niya. Tsaka natutuwa kami, pang New Year to sa amin na naaray na siya sa wakas. Sa loob ng 3 taon, ito ang inaantay namin talaga. Kaya nagpapasalamat na rin kami doon sa sinabi niyang not guilty siya. Pero alam namin na hindi totoo yun.
Zaldi is the 4th member of the Ampatuan clan to be formally charged. Out of the 198 accused, 103 have been arrested and 82 arraigned, among them Andal Ampatuan and his other son, Andal Jr., the alleged mastermind of the killing. Maguindanao Governor Ismael Mangudadatu lost 11 family members in the tragedy. He is satisfied but complains about the slow course of justice.
Alam mo, nung namatay si Mrs., 10 months old yung aming anak. Ngayon, almost 4 years na marunong na magsalita, hinahanap yung nanay. So yun lang, medyo masakit, sobrang bigat.
Zaldi Ampatuan has been behind bars for 3 years, along with his father and brother. The process of his arraignment, according to the prosecution, should have taken only 90 days.
He did exhaust all legal remedies hanggang Korte Suprema. At siyempre, marami siyang mga inattempt na gawin para siya maalis doon sa information. Pero sa akin, talagang kahit paano mo siya tignan, hindi mo siya ma-justify kung bakit ganitong katagal.
Governor Mangudadatu's brother helped the military find the site where the victims were buried in mass graves. He will never forget that day and will never forgive the Ampatuans for what they did to his family.
Well, if we talk of our feelings, it's a half, we feel happy and some anger by seeing one of the accused who slaughtered our loved ones.
Since the trial began in January 2010, the prosecution has presented 101 witnesses and 264 hearings have been conducted. But 93 suspects remain at large and no one has been convicted of a crime.
3 years after the Maguindanao massacre, Zaldi Ampatuan is arraigned. It's an important step towards bringing justice to the 57 victims and closing one of the darkest chapters in Philippine history. Carlos Santamaria, Rappler, Manila.
Manny Pacquiao returns home to the Philippines days after the stunning loss to Juan Manuel Marquez. Will he listen to sports analysts who say he should retire? Natasha Gutierrez reports.
The People's Champ is back in Manila. Fresh off a knockout defeat, world champion boxer Manny Pacquiao arrives at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal around 6 in the morning. With wife Jinky and members of his entourage, Pacquiao is in a happy mood despite his second consecutive loss. He says thank you for the warm welcome and talks about his 6th-round knockout loss to arch-rival Juan Manuel Marquez.
Hindi ko alam na bumagsak pala ako na nakauna yung mukha ko. Tapos nalaman ko nung nakatihaya na ako at marami ng tao sa harapan ko. At nung pinanood yung replay, hindi pala ako gumalaw nung bumagsak ako. So kaya yung asawa ko na nataranta na...
He is jovial at first but turns serious when he talks about the effect of his loss on his countrymen.
Yung kababayang Pilipino ko na maraming nakita ko sa napanood ko sa balita na maraming umiyak, nasaktan sila at ang gusto ko kasi mapasaya ko palagi yan ang ano ko gusto kong mapasaya palagi ang mga kababayan natin.
But supporters assure him he is still their champ. Among the fans who trooped to the airport at dawn are colleagues in Congress, politicians, and actors. They say they will be there for Pacquiao through thick and thin.
Suporta natin nasa kanya pa rin. Hindi natin siya pwedeng pabayaan, lalo na bagsak yung nararamdaman niya. Magpangon tayo.
From the airport, Pacquiao and his crew head to Midas Hotel where another welcome awaits. There, he is more subdued as friends heap praises on him and assure him of their support. He admits he is embarrassed.
Nahiya ako sa kanila kasi... Anyway, huwag po kayo mag-alala, talagang ganun ang buhay. Tanggapin natin buong puso natin. Sa akin, tanggap ko naman Minsan lang, hindi ko mapigilan yung emosyon ko na mapayak.
He reiterates this is not the end of his boxing career. Pacquiao's loss by knockout is his first since 1999. He insists this has only made him more determined and is nothing but a stumbling block. Whether the stunning defeat was a coincidence or a sign of decline remains to be seen. He promises he will be back in the ring and will regain his glory.
Babawi tayo, we will rise again.
Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.
Government Service Insurance System President Roberto Vergara speaks about managing the pension funds of government employees. GSIS has over 600 billion pesos in assets. Vergara was fund manager of investment house Lionheart Limited before taking the government post in September 2010. He says resolving problems for the members is their top priority for 2 years.
Really, our attention has been focused on trying to resolve many of the problems that were at GSIS. Especially as it relates to members' services.
Right.
And I think that that was our priority, that we should try to put our house in order, that we should try to address this many concerns, a lot of the frustrations for our members. And really, that's what we embarked on in the first 2 years. Now that
leadership lessons from his experiences in both the public and private sectors.
You have to be able to articulate your vision. You have to be very clear about where you want to go. And then the next thing is recognition that you can't do it on your own. So you have to make sure you cannot do it on your own. So you got to make sure that you pick good people and that you empower them and that you encourage them and that take risk.
Local mobile phone companies asked the National Telecommunications Commission to reconsider its order to slash text messaging fees and refund subscribers. In separate motions, Smart Communications Incorporated, Sun Cellular, and Globe Telecom Incorporated also questions the authority of the NTC, saying the industry has long been deregulated. The telcos say NTC issued a circular requiring the phone companies to reduce interconnection charges from 35 centavos to 15 centavos per SMS. The companies say the order to lower the regular SMS rate was not included in the circular, but was merely a, quote, request. North Korea successfully launches a long-range rocket Wednesday, defying the United Nations' threats of sanctions. North Korea says the three-stage rocket, which Pyongyang insists is aimed at placing a satellite in orbit, achieved all its objectives. Officials in South Korea and Japan say all three stages of the rocket appear to have separated as scheduled. The first and second stages fall in the sea west and southwest of the Korean peninsula, while the third falls 300 kilometers east of the Philippines. North Korea originally gave a December 10 to 22 launch window, but extended that by a week when a, quote, technical deficiency is discovered Monday. Washington and its allies say the launch is a disguised ballistic missile test that violates UN resolutions. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 2, in a long-awaited move, U.S. President Barack Obama recognizes Syria's opposition as the, quote, legitimate representative of the nation's people. The U.S. joins France, Britain, Turkey, and the Gulf Cooperation Council in recognizing the recently reconstituted opposition's Syrian National Coalition. In an interview with ABC News, Obama says, quote, the Syrian opposition coalition is now inclusive enough, is reflective and representative enough of the Syrian population. At number 5, thousands continue to rally in the Egyptian capital, Cairo, days before a scheduled referendum to ratify a new constitution. Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi wants the referendum on Saturday, but opposition leaders want it scrapped, saying it's drafted by an Islamist-dominated assembly. Opposition forces converge outside the presidential palace, now guarded by tanks and hundreds of soldiers, while supporters of Morsi rally at Tahrir Square. At number 9, earlier this month, the Vatican announced Pope Benedict XVI will begin tweeting from his own personal account at Pontifex. The Pope's first tweet happens today. The Pope personally hits the send button on his first tweet, written in his own words, but pre-drafted in 8 languages. In his first tweet, he says, quote, Dear friends, I'm pleased to get in touch with you through Twitter. Thank you for your generous response. I bless all of you from my heart. Twitter Innovation Chief Claire Diaz-Ortiz is in Rome to personally oversee the historic event. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Every story on Rappler has its own mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel, and your vote comes down to the middle of the front page, which crowdsources at the Mood Navigator, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also places the top 10 stories which have gotten the most number of clicks, votes, on their mood meter. If we take a look today, top story, one of our top stories, North Korea surprises the world, fires rocket. Interesting mix, 72% angry, 11% afraid, 7% annoyed, 4% inspired, and 4% happy. Ongoing right now, we have the vote, and that's still number 1. That's gotten the most number of clicks. The LP-NPC leadership passed the RH bill. 18% angry, 1% inspired, 1% amused, the majority, 79% happy. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Wednesday, December 12, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.